This is from a translation of the Battle of Motoira, one of 3 poems attributed to this week's story. Kings arise to meet the battle, cheeks are seized, faces are declared, flesh is decimated. Faces are fled, ramparts are sought, feasts are given, battles are observed, poems are recited. Druids are celebrated, circuits are made, bodies are recorded. Metal cuts, teeth marks, necks break. 100 cuts blossom. Screams are heard, battalions are broken, hosts are given, ships are steered, weapons protect, noses are severed. I see all who are born in the blood, zealous, vigorous battle, raging on the raven battlefield with blade scabbards. They attempt our defeat over our own turrets, against your attack on the full complement of Famore. In the mossy margins, the helpful raven dives, mustered, we prepare ourselves to destroy. To me, the full-bodied exploits are like shaking to and fro of a hound kill. Godly decay of the muddy water bands, your violations are renounced. Welcome back to the Irish Gothic podcast, the only show brave enough to delve into the shadowy corners of the Emerald Isle, and we don't even spill our pints. How's it going, Spence?
It's going. Yeah, you threw me a dark one, Chris, I have to say. I've been perpetually side-eyeing crows all over the place because of the subject matter of tonight's episode. It's quite a contrast in the leprechauns. I am now looking at all black birds in a new kind of jittery light.
Spence, that shows me that you have certainly been doing your homework. This week, we're diving deep into a figure who embodies a good chunk of that mysterious, sometimes terrifying, but always compelling Irish spirit. I'm not talking about Blackbush. I'm talking about the Morrigan.
The Morrigan, indeed, Chris. My goodness, a name we should probably whisper. She's so fearful. She's a complex, really powerful figure in Irish mythology, mostly associated with themes of war, fate, sovereignty. But there's a lot more going on under the hood, so to speak.
Yeah, war and fate. Sounds cheerful.
There's just so much to her, and she's more, regarded as a deity. Now, we did touch upon her way back when we were much younger, it seems. Episode 1, when we talked about the Cave of Cats.
We did.
That was believed to be Morrigan's dwelling. I think she had an encounter with Cú Chulainn there. More on that, maybe later down the line.
Nothing says ancient powerful goddess like a horde of hissing furballs.
Yeah.
Nick, she was the OG Catwoman.
But do you not think, man, even she was controlled by the cat? Do you not get the feeling that cats control everybody? Well, deities, goddesses, gods.
Cats, I mean, I'm going to spin off a little bit here, but cats have always been big. I mean, look at the Egyptians.
Yeah.
The Egyptians had the bald cats with the big ears, but the cats were like royalty.
Absolutely. I heard somewhere that cats don't meow to each other. It's a trait. Now, that's a trait that they have learned by watching humans. They've noticed that when babies make a wailing noise or a crying noise, humans go to their aid. And that's why cats meow to humans, because they've learned that by doing that, they'll get our attention. That they don't meow to each other. Like, I am a bit gullible, Chris, as you know, but there may be something to that. I'm sure our listeners will let us know.
Well, I haven't heard about that, but it sounds fascinating. The only cat I know is, didn't He-Man ride one? Was he Battle Cat?
Top Cat.
Oh, Top Cat, yes. And then that terrible film, Cats. It was based on a musical.
Oh, yeah.
And it was absolutely terrible. But
We digress. Yes.
We're digressing.
I think we're a bit worried about dipping our toe into this one because it is so dark. Maybe we're treading water here because we're a bit scared. So what about the name, Chris? The Morrigan, it sounds like your atypical name, but there's a wee bit more to it, I believe.
There's a bit of a debate, but it seems that the Morrigan might come from an Indo-European root, meaning terror or monstrousness. Like the Old English mare, which is spelled M-A-E-R-E, the one from Nightmare, and Regan simply means queen. So generally favoured. The translation, as we can sort of see, is Phantom Queen.
Spooky. That sounds pretty bang on, man, doesn't it? And she's not just one Phantom Queen, though, isn't it? She, as a deity, she's considered to consist of other entities that she sort of encapsulates, in fact, 3 different entities.
Oh, she's like a triple threat. She's like one.
Well,
tell
these
me
three
more
lovely-
about the lovely lady, Spence.
Yes,
tell me
so,
more.
Well, so there's Bav, which is the goddess of war and chaos, known for creating confusion among enemies in the battlefield. So you could just imagine her whispering the wrong directions to an opposing army and causing chaos.
Oh, that's like me relying on my sat-nav. Guaranteed to end up somewhere arguing with a cow.
Well, funny, cows may well feature in this story later.
They don't meow. Maybe cows speak to each other. They don't moo to each other.
They don't with each other. Oh goodness, can start a whole thing here. The other entity linked to the Morrigan is Macha, particularly linked to Ulster, particularly the areas of Armagh and Navan, and she represents sovereignty and protection, ensuring the well-being of her people.
So so Baba, is it pronounced as Bav?
It's Bav, yes.
So Bav messes everyone up. Macha tries to sort it out. It sounds like one of my family gatherings. What about the last one now? It must be the big. You're building up the big one.
The Emain. Hopefully I've got that right. It looks like how it should sound. She embodies strife, panic, instilling fear and dread into the hearts of all who oppose her. So between the 3 of them there, you've got a whole spectrum.
What you've got there is strife, panic, and chaos.
Yeah.
That sounds like my house on an average day. So is there any escape from these things? I mean, what if I offered them like a nice cup of tea or something? Would they leave me alone?
I don't know, Chris. I think they definitely don't like to be spurned, which we can talk a little bit about later. But getting away from them would be difficult because they're known as shapeshifters. Most notably, the forms they would take would be birds, which is why I'm freaked out about birds. But birds like crows and ravens.
So what you're telling me is you see those particularly judgmental looking ravens, and it might be the old Phantom Queen giving you the side eye.
It might well be, mate. You know, when we talk about movie references, think about films like there's The Raven, but the Crow, The Stand, was it not featured the Stephen King novel?
It did
the disease that wiped out the earth sort of thing.
The body was able to change into
Randolph
Flag was able to change into, or at least see through the eyes of crows. I think that they were always sort of on telephone lines and things. Within the older one, I'm not so sure about the new series. It was a bit different.
Yeah. And we've talked about birds before, how important they are in Irish mythology as being these interconnectors between our
sort
world
of
and the
omens,
supernatural.
like omens that come through and show sort of the, associated with presence, that she's there, or even in death. Like, it's very cheerful, isn't it?
Of all portents of her presence, can she be a badger or a squirrel?
No, not a badger, no. But she also pops up as a wolf, an eel, and a heifer, as well as her human form, both as a beautiful woman and an old hag. Bit of a spectrum there to keep you on your toes, Spence.
You have to be very careful with it if you meet on a lonely road in Ireland. It's a good chance.
I wouldn't care. I mean, if I met a wolf, I met an eel on the road, I'd be like, you're like a fish out of water. Boom, boom, boom. What I need is a little soundboard that can go boom, boom, shh.
We got to invest in that, mate. Get that sponsorship rolling in and we'll get ourselves a soundboard. We would never leave the house. She's also got other symbols related to her as well. So we know about the crows and the ravens, but things like weapons, swords, spears, the whole war goddess angle, and also that traditional Celtic iconography. We talk about the triple spiral or the triple knot. All of these things represent that tripartite nature of hers, which is life, death, rebirth.
Oh, a bit of cosmic balance thrown into the battlefield mayhem. I like it. Makes her a bit more like a harbinger of doom. I mean, as we get into this, we'll find she's not the Banshee, but certainly has that feel of a harbinger of doom.
100%, Chris. Definitely which came first, Banshee, Morrigan? Yeah, there's definitely, in terms of her look as well, you've got the red and black seem to be the colours most associated with her, representing blood, death, transformation. Transformation's a big thing with her, very Gothic. And then there's a cauldron, and she's associated with a cauldron, and again that symbolises transformation, regeneration. It's all about life, death cycle. And then the old Mr. Fogg. Wow, she can turn into Mr. Fogg. There's a bit of a vampire vibe there as well.
So if I ever decide to decorate my living room with red and black, with a big cauldron as a centrepiece, surrounded by ravens and perpetual fog, you'll know who my spirit animal is.
channeling your inner Morrigan. Well, you'll be well respected for it, because if you want to build a little fandom, the Celts really revered the Morrigan as a symbol of their own strength and resilience during times of conflict. They believed that she would watch over them, so they made offerings to her. Those offerings could be weapons, armour, and the heads of fallen enemies.
Yeah, bit hardcore for a Tuesday afternoon. It would certainly make you stand out.
We talked about earlier on, Chris, about slighting and running afoul of the Morrigan, because whilst in one way she's this guardian, protector, and transformation, she's absolutely not to be trifled with. Now, we're not going into too much detail on this, but a hero from the Ulster cycle, Cú Chulainn, had an encounter with a Morrigan. He didn't recognise her. She was along with this chariot and this mysterious rider, a one-legged horse no less, and he sort of spurns her, he insults her, not quite knowing who exactly she was, and that was probably a mistake.
A one-legged horse, Spence? I mean, that's proper Gothic weirdness.
It sounds like the one.
I know, I have a bet once a year in the Grand National, and I never win. I'd be better off getting a one-legged horse, because it would run in a circle.
Well, I said, why? Because we've just got a dog, and his name's Rocket, and the winner was called Rocket something. Of course, I didn't even know it was on. Now, we'll not delve too much into that Cú Chulainn story, but when he did encounter her, he said to her, "Thou hast no power against me." And she said back to him, "I have power indeed, and it is at the guarding of thy death that I am and I shall be." So, look, I think we may have Cú Chulainn in the mix for later episodes, Chris. But
I know we certainly do. She's certainly not one for half measures.
No.
She's certainly not one for half measures, most definitely. She's a really powerful figure from ancient mythology when you look into her. Is she still around and kicking in the old Irish landscape today? Because I'm sure I went out with her in the 90s.
There's definitely sort of, I guess you'd say, remnants of her presence on the land today. They talk about the Shannon River, there's a burnt mound site in County Tipperary, which is known as the cooking pit of the Morrigan. There's also the two breasts of the Morrigan Steady, which are a pair of hills in County Meath. And then, of course, the Cave of Cats in Roscommon is also something that we would associate with her.
So if you're hiking and feel an odd sense of being watched, maybe don't take a selfie.
Get out of there. Now, one of the big tales and battles in which the Morrigan featured, and again, like a very strong female character in this history, was the Second Battle of Moytura, which we quoted from a poem earlier. So this was a mythological battle between the Tiste Danann, who was this race of divine, elf-like beings with extraordinary powers, and they were up against the Fomorians. Now, the Fomorians were something entirely different, very H.P. Lovecraft-esque, Chris.
Did we talk about them in our Finn McCool episode? I think we touched on them, at least.
We do indeed. They were regarded as malevolent spirits, supposed to have dwelled underwater and in the nether regions of the earth. In one of the earliest references, they were said to dwell under the worlds of men, which just has that Lord of the Rings. That thing that comes in the mountain. What do you call that thing with the dwarves? The Balrog, is it?
Oh, the Balrog, yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, I think you're probably...
You're past 7.
You're past 7. But what's his name with the big beard and the staff?
I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to kill you.
Thou shalt not pass. Gandalf.
There we go.
He kills Gandalf the Grey, who then becomes Gandalf the White.
Correct.
That's him. And if I've just killed the Lord of the Rings for you, I apologise. But if you haven't watched it, you shouldn't be listening. So go and watch it.
So, like, the Fomorians, they were sometimes portrayed as sea raiders. They were said to have the body of a man, the head of a goat. And in an 11th century text, in the Book of the Dun Cow, they would have one eye, one arm, one leg. Came in all shapes and sizes. Definitely had a Lovecraftian feel about them. And this battle, this is what was between the Tiste Danann, elfin, divine creatures, and the chaos and malevolent Fomorians. And the Morrigan had a crucial role in that battle.
It's definitely interesting. And I know that even though we're doing an episode on the Morrigan now, looking forward and giving a bit of foreshadowing to our next episodes, we'll be talking about Kilcannon. Kirkcullen, not Kirkcullen. That's potatoes and spring onions. No, Kirkcullen. And we'll probably touch a little bit on the Morrigan in how he, in how she affects his life in many a meeting.
Absolutely.
How do you think? I think it's fascinating that she's now been adopted to neo-paganism and Wicca today. She's seen as a figure of transformation of power, especially of female power and personal growth.
100%, Chris. She's become a symbol of empowerment for many people. And even we look back to that battle of the Fomorian, and these are two massive races. So you kind of think, well, how did the Morrigan sway the battle? And again, I think this is one of the things that maybe appeals to neo-paganism and the Wicca, because the Morrigan didn't just go wading in like some dragon or a mass attack. How she turned the tide of that battle is in itself unique. She prophesied that the Tutalan were going to win, and that she would use her powers to try and confuse the Fomorian forces.
It always sort of came to me like, well, if you look at the Camelot sort of thing, I think his sister was the Black Witch, which was played by the woman who played the Queen. If you look at the Camelot stories, there's a character in Camelot played by Helen Mirren, which is a sort of an evil sorceress. But also, if you bring it forward and look at Game of Thrones, there's the Red Witch in Game of Thrones. She uses a lot of her powers to deceive battles, deceive people into thinking they're seeing things, to create whispers and to create fear on the battlefield. And I think that's sort of very much inspired by the Morrigan and the type of things, because the Morrigan loved battle, and as we'll find out in future episodes, she loved heroes, and she loved the rise of heroes and the fall of heroes, and the fall of armies and the rise of armies, and it gave her energy.
Yep, she could literally shape the destiny of entire people. You mentioned the Game of Thrones reference, but I think of deception, seduction, and this battle of the Tutalan and the Fomorians. The Morrigan had a tryst with the Dagda before the battle. He meets her, she's washing herself with one foot on either side of the river Eunice, and it's in County Sligo. They get together, have a little bit of a pre-battle tryst, shall we say, and the Morrigan promised to summon the magicians of Ireland to cast spells and help destroy the Fomorian king. In her words, she said, the blood of his heart and the kidneys of his valour. Said later that she would bring 2 handfuls of the dead Fomorian king's blood and deposit them into the same river. As she chanted her poem, and part of that poem was, I have stood fast, I shall pursue what was watched, I will be able to kill, I will be able to destroy those who might be subdued. And it is said, because of the Morrigan getting involved in this battle, the Fomorians were driven back into the sea.
You definitely want her on your side. Just looking at today, I mean, she pops up, not just Game of Thrones and things like that, she pops up all over the place. I mean, in things like Dragon's Age and Assassin's Creed games, TV series like Sanctuary, Lost Girl, and even in some Marvel comics. I mean, that's real proof that her legend endures.
I mean, it's and in so many different formats. And I believe there was rumours of a movie with a friend of this show, actually James Cosmo, and Saffron Burrows.
Though I think there's a lot of modernising legends in terms of movies these days. I watched The Wolfman, which was a modern version, but it didn't feel right as a modern version. I think you can bring the Morrigan up to present day, but you'll always fall back in those wonderful tales that she appears in. And I mean, we'll go deeper into the tales of the next 2 or 3 episodes, but certainly those tales. So definitely, if I ever get superpowers, I am blaming the Morrigan or crediting, depending on what they turn out to be, because she was the one that was helping win battles. And if I'm ever in a battle and I win, it's because of her. Because I can't fight.
She'd be a good corner woman, wouldn't she?
She
a good tag
would.
Team partner, absolutely. I think we've said it all. She encompassed so much. When I heard about the Morrigan, all I knew was the war goddess side of things. Whilst that is unmistakably true, there's all this other aspect to her transformation, empowerment. The beautiful poem which she spoke about the land and the bountifulness of the land and of the people. There's real heart to her character, and I'm just so glad we've been able to uncover her a wee bit. And If I could just take a wee second, Chris, and do a quick shout out. Chris and I will always give you whet your appetite for this kind of thing, but there's some great resources out there, and I wanted to give a quick shout out to emeraldisle.ie, which I know you're familiar with them, Chris, a fantastic resource of Irish mythology. They gave us a wee shout out on their Facebook page, which I would hardly recommend anyone gets involved with. You know, if you have a thirst for some more, obviously come back to us next week. But if you want to do a little more digging into the Morrigan, Emerald is definitely a site worth checking out.
100%, Spence, 100%. So, that seems to be all we've got time for this week. The next 3 episodes will be on Cuchulainn, and we will dip in and out of the Morrigan as we go through there. Please join us next time. And of course, remember to rate and review wherever you get your podcasts. Until then, keep one eye on the crows and maybe leave your saucer of milk out just in case.
Take care, folks.